Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashutarashtashmar Bhakti Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashutarashtashmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashutarashtashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shri Goksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Shri Satyavrata Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gopal Shah Vrinda ki jai. Nama Chai Shalahidas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। साव अभिष्ट विराट गिरिराज मा की जाय। श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाय। श्री मत्स्य अवतार की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूत श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतं। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीन अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Sorry I'm late, everybody. I mentioned in our WhatsApp group, but yeah, busy morning this morning. Tandavat pranams Hari Priya Didi, Gagaraji, Raseshwari Mataji, Hari Bo, Rupmanjari Didi, Ganga Didi, Prajumna Prabhu. Tandavat pranams, everybody. No, I have never heard of No. No, never heard of it. Prajumna Prabhu. Okay. So, I guess we don't really need to do a recap because this is a totally new section, and yeah, we don't really need to. Oh, actually, maybe something we can do is we can look through the whole eighth canto at a glance. That will give us. Okay, so first in part 4, in chapters 8th canto, chapters 1 through 4, we read about the first 4 manvantaras. And that's Svāyambhuva Manu's perfection, the deliverance of Gajendra. Then in part B, which is chapters 5 through 12, we read about the 5th and 6th manvantaras. We read about the Samudra Manthan, the universal war, and how Mohini Murti bewilders Shiva. Then in part C, we read about the present Manvantara, the 7th Manvantara, and the future Manvantaras, 8th to 14th Manvantaras. That was in chapter 13 to 14. Yeah. Then chapter 15 to 23, we read about Bali Maharaja and Vamandev. That was part D. And then finally, we will end now with chapter 24, which is Matsya Avatars. See, there's in the plural, there are 2 Matsya Avatars. So, oops. Okay. So let's begin. Let me just see. Okay. Chapter 24, Matsya, the Lord's fish incarnation. This chapter describes the Supreme Personality of Godhead's incarnation as a fish, and it also describes the saving of Maharaj Satyavrata from inundation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself by Svaṅsha, his personal expansions, and Vibhinaṅsha, his expansions as living entities. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears on this planet for the protection of the sadhus, or devotees, and for the destruction of miscreants, or non-devotees. He especially descends to give protection to the cows, the Brahmins, the demigods, the devotees, and the Vedic system of religion. Thus he appears in various forms, sometimes as a fish, sometimes as a boar, sometimes Shringadev, sometimes Vamandev, and so on. But in any form or incarnation, although he comes within the atmosphere of the material modes of nature, he is unaffected. This is a sign of his supreme controlling power. Although he comes within the material atmosphere, Maya cannot touch him. Therefore, no material qualities can be attributed to him in any degree. Once, at the end of the previous kalpa, a demon named Hayagriva wanted to take the Vedic knowledge away from Lord Brahma at the time of annihilation. Hayagriva, I guess. And Bhagavan's name is Hayagriva. Okay, interesting. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took the incarnation of a fish at the beginning of the period of Svāyambhuva Manu and saved the Vedas. During the reign of Cākṣuṣa Manu, there was a king named Satyavrata who was a great pious leader. To save him, the Lord appeared as the fish incarnation for a second time. King Satyavrata later became the son of the sun god and was known as Shraddhadev. He was established as Manu by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To receive the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Satyavrata engaged in the austerity of subsisting only by drinking water. Once, while performing this austerity on the bank of the Kritamala river and offering oblations of water with the palm of his hands, he found a small fish. The fish appealed to the king for protection, asking the king to keep him in a safe place. Although the king did not know that the small fish was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, as a king, he gave shelter to the fish and kept him in a water jug. The fish, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, wanted to show his potency to King Satyavrata, and thus he immediately expanded his body in such a way that he could be kept in a jug of water. The king then put the fish in a big well, but the well was also too small. Then the king put the fish in a lake, but the lake was also unsuitable. Finally, the king put the fish in the sea, but even the sea could not accommodate him. Thus the king understood that the fish was no one else but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he requested the Lord to describe his incarnation as a fish. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased with the king, informed him that within a week there would be an inundation throughout the universe, and that the fish incarnation would protect the king, along with the rishis, herbs, seeds, and other living entities, in a boat, which would be attached to the fish's horn. Armageddon's coming in a week. After saying this, the Lord disappeared. King Satyavrata offered respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord and continued to meditate upon him. In due course of time, annihilation took place, and the king's coming near. After getting aboard with learned Brahmins and saintly persons, he offered prayers to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, and thus he taught Maharaj Satyavrata and the saintly persons about Vedic knowledge from the core of the heart. King Satyavrata took his next birth as Vivasvata Manu, who is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Vivasvan manave praha. The sun god spoke the science of Bhagavad Gita to his son Manu. Because of being the son of Vivasvan, this Manu is known as Vivasvata Manu. One second. This one is C. Okay. Sorry, I can't help myself. Okay. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Oh wow, look. This right here, I'm learning Harinamamrita Vyakaran, and it takes 4 sutras to come to get this little squiggle on the end and make this a cha. Okay. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Bhagavan Chrotumichami Harirarputa Karmanaha Avatāra Katam Adyam Maya Matsya Vidambanam. Maharaj Parīkṣit said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is eternally situated in his transcendental position, yet he descends to this material world and manifests himself in various incarnations. This incarnation was that of a great fish. O most powerful Shukadev Goswami, I wish to hear from you the pastimes of that fish incarnation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-powerful, yet he accepted the form of an uncommon fish. This is one of the 10 original incarnations of the Lord. Yadartam, wait, oops, I have to take it off this view. Yadartam adadharupam matsyam loka jugupsitam tama prakriti durmarsham karma grasta iveshvara. Etano Bhagavan Sarvam Yatavar Vaktumarhasi Uttama Shloka Charitang Sarvaloka Sukavaham. What was the purpose for which the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepted the abominable form of a fish, exactly as an ordinary living being accepts different forms under the laws of karma? The form of a fish is certainly condemned and full of terrible pain. O my Lord, what was the purpose of this incarnation? Kindly explain this to us, for hearing about the pastimes of the Lord is auspicious for everyone. Purport. Parīkṣit Maharaj's question to Shukadev Goswami was based on this principle stated by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 4.7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. The Lord appears in each incarnation to save the world from irreligious principles and especially to protect his devotees, paritranaya sadhunam. Dev, for example, appeared to save the devotee Bali Maharaj. Similarly, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepted the abominable form of a fish, he must have done so to favor some devotee. Parīkṣit Maharaj was eager to know about the devotee for whom the Supreme Lord accepted this form. Shri Sutta Uvacha Ityukto Vishnuratena Bhagavan Badarayani Uvacha Charitang Vishnur Matsya Rupena Yatkritam. Sutta Goswami said, when Parīkṣit Maharaj thus inquired from Shukadeva Goswami, that most powerful saintly person began describing the pastimes of the Lord's incarnation as a fish. Shri Shuka Uvacha Go Vipra Surasadhunam Chandasam Apicheshvara Raksham Ichang Stanur Datte Dharmasyartasya Chaivahi. One second, let me just check this. Reading it first. Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, O king, for the sake of protecting the cows, Brahmins, demigods, devotees, the Vedic literature, religious principles, and principles to fulfill the purpose of life, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts the forms of incarnations. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead generally appears in various types of incarnations to give protection to the cows and Brahmins. The Lord is described as Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. In other words, he is always eager to benefit the cows and Brahmins. When Lord Krishna appeared, he purposely became a cowherd boy and showed personally how to give protection to the cows and calves. Similarly, he showed respect to Sudama Vipra, a real Brahmin. From the Lord's personal activities, human society should learn how to give protection specifically to the Brahmins and cows. Then the protection of religious principles, fulfillment of the aim of life, and protection of Vedic knowledge can be achieved. Without protection of cows, Brahminical culture cannot be maintained. And without Brahminical culture, the aim of life cannot be fulfilled. The Lord, therefore, is described as Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, because his incarnation is only for the purpose of the cows and Brahmins. Unfortunately, because in Kali Yuga there is no protection of the cows in Brahminical culture, everything is in a precarious position. If human society wants to be exalted, the leaders of society must follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and give protection to the cows, the Brahmins, and Brahminical culture. Uchavacheshu bhuteshu charan vayuriveshvara nochavacchatam bhajate nirgunadvadhiyo gunai. Like the air passing through different types of air, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing sometimes as a human being and sometimes as a lower animal, is always transcendental. Because he is above the material modes of nature, he is unaffected by higher and lower forms. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of the material nature. Mayad takshena prakriti suyate sachara charam. It's Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Therefore, being the supreme controller of the laws of nature, the Lord cannot be under their influence. An example given in this regard is that although the wind blows through many places, the air is not affected by the qualities of these places. Although the air sometimes carries the odor of a filthy place, the air has nothing to do with such a place. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being all good and all auspicious, is never affected by the material qualities like an ordinary living entity. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunkte prakritijan gunan. 1321. When the living entity is in the material nature, he is affected by its qualities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, is not affected. Disrespectfully, one who does not know this considers that the Supreme Personality of Godhead an ordinary living being, avajananti mamura, param bhavam ajanataha. Such a conclusion is reached by the unintelligent because they are unaware of the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Asir atita kalpante brahmanai mitiko laya samudro paplutas tatra lokabhur adayo nripa. O King Parīkṣit, at the end of the past millennium, at the end of Brahma's day, because Lord Brahma sleeps during the night, annihilation took place, and the three worlds were the water of the ocean. Kalina gatanidrasya dhatu shisha yashor bali mukhato nisritam vedan hayagrivantike harat. At the end of Brahma's day, when Brahma felt sleepy and desired to lie down, the Vedas were emanating from his mouth, and the great demon named Hayagriva stole the Vedic knowledge. Gyatva tadanavendrasya Hayagrivyasya cheshtitam tadharasha parirupam Bhagavan Haririshvara. Understanding the acts of the great demon Hayagriva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, who is full in all opulences, assumed the form of a fish and saved the Vedas by killing the demon. Purport. Because everything was inundated by water, to save the Vedas, it was necessary for the Lord to assume the form of a fish. Tatra Raja Rishi Kaschin Namna Satyavrata Mahan Narayana Parotapat Tapaha Salilashanaha. During the Cākṣuṣa manvantara, there was a great king named Satyavrata, who was a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Satyavrata performed austerities by subsisting only on water. Purport. The Lord assumed one fish incarnation to save the Vedas at the beginning of the Svāyambhuva manvantara, and at the end of the Cākṣuṣa manvantara, the Lord again assumed the form of a fish, just to favor the great king named Satyavrata. As there were two incarnations of Varaha, there were also two incarnations of a fish. The Lord appeared as one fish to save the Vedas by killing Hayagriva, and he assumed the other fish incarnation to show favor to King Satyavrata. Wait 1 second. I just want to see the list of the manvantars again. List of manvantars. Okay. How come there's not the name given? I guess it's given here. Manvantara, Wikipedia. Okay. So Cākṣuṣa manvantara is the 6th manvantara. This is Svāyambhuva manvantara and then Cākṣuṣa manvantara. So Matsya came in the 1st kalpa and in the 6th manvantara. Right? Yeah. 1st and 6th manvantaras. And I guess that was just before us, because we're in the Vivasvata manvantara, right? Interesting. Okay. I might have gotten some of that wrong. I don't know. Okay. Text 11. Yo savasmin mahakalpe tanaya sa vivasvataha shraddhadeva iti kyato manutve harinarpita. I read this, right? Yes, I did. In this, the present millennium, King Satyavrata later became the son of Vivasvan, the king of the sun planet, and was known as Shraddhadev. By the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was given the post of Ekada Kritamalayam Korvato Jalatarpanam Tasyanjaludake Kachit Chapareka Bhyapadyata. One day, while King Satyavrata was performing austerities by offering water on the bank of the river Kritamala, a small fish appeared in the water in his palms. Satyavranjali gatam sahatoyena bharata utsasarja naditoye shafarim dravideshvara. Satyavrata, the king of Dravida Desh, threw the fish into the water of the river along with the water in his palm. O king, O King Parīkṣit, O King Parīkṣit, descendant of Bharata, sorry. Tamaha satikaruna mahakarunikam nirpam yadobhyo gyatighatibhyo dinang mang dinavatsala katam visriyase rajan bhitam asmin sarijale. With an appealing voice, the poor small fish said to King Satyavrata, who was very merciful, "My dear king, protector of the poor, why are you throwing me into the water of a river where there are other aquatics who can kill me? I am very much afraid of them." Should Matsya's voice change with the size? I think so. Purport. In the Matsya Purana, it is said, Ananta Shaktir Bhagavan Matsya Rupi Janardanaha Kridartam Yachayam Asa Swayam Satyavratam Nripam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead possesses unlimited potency. Nonetheless, in his pastime in the form of a fish, protection from King Satyavrata. Oh, something really interesting. One of the most one of the most fascinating touristy experiences I've ever had in India was we were invited to go for this program up in Rajasthan, in some remote place in some really very, very, very remote village in Rajasthan. And it's a beautiful village, and the culture and everything was just, oh my God. And it's so beautiful. Anyways, but their main scripture was the Matsya Purana. Everybody in the village, that was their Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, was the Matsya Purana. Yeah. And look, the Matsya Purana is one of the 18 major Puranas, and among the oldest and better preserved in Puranic genre, the oldest Puranas and better preserved Puranas. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. Tamatmano nugrahartam pritya matsya vapurdharam ajanan rakshanarthaya shafarya samanodadhe. To please himself, King Satyavrata, not knowing that the fish was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, decided with great pleasure to give the fish protection. Purport. Here is an example of giving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead even without knowledge. Such service is called agyata sukriti. King Satyavrata wanted to show his own mercy, not knowing that the fish was Lord Vishnu. By such unknowing devotional service, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Service rendered to the Supreme Lord knowingly or unknowingly never goes in vain. Tasya dinatarang vakyam ashrutya sa mahipatihi kalashapsu nidhayainam dayalur ninya ashramam. The merciful king, being moved by the pitiable words of the fish, placed the fish in a water jug and brought him to his own residence. Oh, poor little fish. Satu tatraika ratrena vardhamana kamandalo alabdvatma vakashamva idam aha mahipatim. But in one night, that fish grew so much that he could not move his body comfortably in the water of the pot. He then spoke to the king as follows. Naham kamandala vasmin kritran vastum ihotsahe kalpayoka suvipulam yatraham nivase sukam. My dear king, I do not like living in this water pot with such great difficulty. Therefore, please find some better reservoir of water where I can live comfortably. Sa inang tata adaya nyadhad odanchano dake tatra kshipta muhurtena hastatrayam avardata. Then taking the fish out of the water pot, the king threw him in a large well. But within a moment, the fish developed to the length of 3 cubits. How big is 3 cubits? I don't know how big a cubit is. Cubit size. Okay. A cubit is an ancient measure of length approximately equal to the length of a forearm. It was typically about 18 inches or 44 centimeters, though there is a long cubit of about 21 inches or 52 centimeters. Okay. So basically, like, as tall as a short person, right? Nama itar alam rajan sukam vastum udanchanam prittu dehi padam mahyam yaham sharanam gata. The fish then said, "My dear king, this reservoir of water is not fit for residence. Please give me a more extensive pool of water, for I have taken shelter of you." Tatta adaya saragya kshipta rajan sarovare tadavritya manasoyam mahaminon vardata. O Maharaj Parīkṣit, the king took the fish from the well and threw him in a lake, but the fish then assumed a gigantic form exceeding the extent of the water. Naitan me swastaye rajan udakam salilokasaha nidehi rakshayogena hrade mam avidasini. The fish then said, "O king, I am a large aquatic, and this was not at all suitable for me. Now kindly find some way to save me. It would be better to put me in the water of a lake that will never reduce." Itukta sonayam matsyam tatra tatra vidasini jalasaye samitang tang samudre prakshipajasham. When thus requested, King Satyavrata took the fish to the largest reservoir of water. But when that also proved insufficient, the king at last threw the gigantic fish into the ocean. I wonder how he moved the fish. That'd be really fun to see. Kshipyamanastame ahedam ihamamakaradaya adantati balavi mamne hotsrashtumarhasi. While being thrown in the ocean, the fish said to King Satyavrata, "O hero, in this water there are many powerful and dangerous sharks that will eat me. Therefore, you should not throw me in this place." Evam vimohitastena. How could any creature eat such a ginormous thing? Evam vimohitastena vadata valgo bharatim tam ahako bhavan asman Matsya rupena mohayan. After hearing these sweet words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a fish, the king, being bewildered, asked him, "Who are you, sir? You simply bewilder us." Naivam viryo jalacharo drishto smabhi shruto piva yo bhavanyo jana shatam ahnabhi vyanashe sara. My lord, in one day you have expanded yourself for hundreds of miles, covering the water of the river and the ocean. Before this, I had never seen or heard of such an aquatic animal. Nunam tam bhagavan shakshad dharir narayano vyaya anugrahaya bhutanam dhatse rupam jalokasam. My Lord, you are certainly the inexhaustible Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, Shri Hari. It is to show your mercy to the living entities that you have now assumed the form of an aquatic. Namaste Purusha Shreshta Stitutpatyapyaveshvara Bhaktanam na prapannanam Mukyo Hyatma Gatir Vivo. O my Lord, Master of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, O best of enjoyers, Lord Vishnu, you are the leader and destination of surrendered devotees like us. Therefore, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Sarve lila avataraste bhutanam bhutihetava gyatum ichham yado rupam yadartam bhavata dhritam. All your pastimes and incarnations certainly appear for the welfare of all living entities. Therefore, my Lord, I wish to know the purpose for which you have assumed this form of a fish. Nater ravindaksha padopasarpanam mrisha bhavit sarva suhrit priyatmana yate tare shangmatmanang satam adi drisho yad vapurarbhutam hinaha. O my Lord, possessing eyes like the petals of a lotus, the worship of the demigods who are in the bodily concept of life is fruitless in all respects. But because you are the supreme friend and dearmost supersoul of everyone, worship of your lotus feet is never useless. You have therefore manifested your form as a fish. Purport. The demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Surya are ordinary living entities who are differentiated parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord expands himself through the living beings, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanash Chaitananam. His personal Vishnu Tattva forms, which are all spiritual, are called Swangsha, and the living entities who are differentiated parts are called Vibhinangsha. Some of the Vibhinangsha forms are, and some are a combination of matter and spirit. The conditioned souls in the material world are different from their external bodies made of material energy. Thus, the demigods living in the upper planetary systems and the living entities living in the lower planetary system are of the same nature. Nonetheless, those living as human beings on this planet are sometimes attracted to worshipping the demigods in the higher planetary systems. Such worship is temporary. As the human beings on this planet have to change their bodies, tata dehantara prapti, the living entities known as Indra, Chandra, Varuna, and so on will also have to change their bodies in due course of time. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, antavat tu phalam tesham tad bhavat telpamedhasam. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Kamais taister hrita jnana prapadyantenya devataha. Bhagavad Gita 7:20. Those who do not know the position of the demigods are inclined to demigods for some material purpose, but the results of such worship are never permanent. Consequently, here it is said, Yate taresham pritag atmanam satam pado pasarpanam mrisha bhavet. In other words, if one is to worship someone else, he must worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then his worship will never be fruitless. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a slight attempt to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a permanent asset. Therefore, as recommended in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Tyaktva sadharmam charanam pujam hare. One should take to the worship of the lotus feet of Hari, even if this means giving up the so-called occupational duty assigned because of the particular body one has accepted. Because worship in terms of the body is temporary, it does not bear any permanent fruit. But worship of the Supreme Personality gives immense benefit. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Bruvanam Nripatim Jagatpati Satyavratang Matsya Vapur Yugakshaye Vihartu Kama Pralayarnave Bravich Chikyeshure Kanta Jana Priya Priyam. Shukadeva Goswami said, when King Satyavrata spoke in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who at the end of the Yuga had assumed the form of a fish to benefit his devotee and enjoy his pastimes in the water of inundation, responded as follows. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Saptame Hyadyata Saptame Hyadyata Nad Urdvam Ahanyetararindama Nimankshatyapyayam Buddho Trailokyam Purvadikam. Sorry about that, guys. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O King, who can subdue your enemies? On the seventh day from today, the three worlds, Bhu, Bhuva, and Sva, will all merge into the water of inundation. Trilokyam liyamanayam sangvartam pasivai tada upastasyati no kachid vishalatvam mayerita. When all the three worlds merge into the water, a large boat sent by me will appear before you. Tang tavar oshadhi sarva bhejanyucha vachanicha saptarshibhi parivritta sarva sattva pabrimhita aruhya brihating navam vicharishyasya viklava akarnave niraloke rishirnam eva varchasa. Thereafter, O king, you shall collect all types of herbs and seeds and load them onto that great boat. Then, accompanied by the 7 rishis and surrounded by all kinds of living entities, you shall get aboard that boat, and without moroseness, you shall easily travel with your companions on the ocean of inundation, the only illumination being the effulgence of the great rishis. Dodhuya manam tang navam samirena baliyasa upastitasya me shringe nibadnihi mahahina. Then, as the boat is tossed about by the powerful winds, attach the vessel to my horn by means of the great serpent Vasuki, for I shall be present by your side. Ahang tvam rishibi sardham saha navam udanvati vikarshan vicharishyami yavad brahmi nisha prabho. Pulling the boat with you and all the rishis in it, O king, I shall travel in the water of devastation until the night of Lord Brahma's slumber is over. Purport. This particular devastation actually took place not during the night of Lord Brahma, but during his day, for the time of Cākṣuṣa Manu. Brahma's night takes place when Brahma goes to sleep. But in the daytime, there are 14 Manus, one of whom is Cākṣuṣa Manu. Therefore, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that although it was daytime for Lord Brahma, Brahma felt sleepy for a short time by the supreme will of the Lord. This short period is regarded as Lord Brahma's night. This has been elaborately discussed by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Lagu Bhagavatamrita. The following is a summary of his analysis. Because Agastya Muni cursed Svāyambhuva Manu during the time of Svāyambhuva Manu, a devastation took place. This devastation is mentioned in the Matsya Purana. During the time of Cākṣuṣa Manu, by the supreme will of the Lord, there was suddenly another pralaya, or devastation. This is mentioned by Markandeya Rishi in the Vishnu Dharmottara. At the end of Manu's time, there is not necessarily a devastation, But at the end of Cākṣuṣa manvantara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his illusory energy, wanted to show Satyavrata the effects of devastation. Srila Sridhar Swami also agrees with this opinion. The Lord's like, hey, look at this. Every living entity annihilated. The Lord Bhagavatam says, Madde manvantarasya mune shapam manum prati pralayoso babhuveti purane kvachir iryate ayam akasmiko jatas Cākṣuṣyasyantare mano pralaya parmanabhasya lilayeti chakutrachit sarva loka sarva manvantarasyante pralayo nishtitam bhavet Vishnu dharmatare markandeyena bhashitam manor ante layo nasti manave dashimayaya Vishnu neti bhuvanaistu Svāyambhuva naisha manyate. Okay, I think we're ending with this verse, right? Let me just check. Yep, 38. Yes, that is so true. Brahma nap time. Imagine if your naps like destroyed like 99.999% of all the living entities, like ended their lives. Be pretty intense. Madhya mahimanam cha param brahmeti shabditam vetasya vetsyasyanugrihitam me samprashnar vivritam hriti. You will be thoroughly advised and favored by me, and because of your inquiries, everything about my glories, which are known as Parang Brahma, will be manifest within your heart. Thus you will know everything about me. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham hridisan navishto matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, is situated in everyone's heart, and from him come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The Lord reveals himself in proportion to one's surrender to him. Ye yata mang prapadyante tang sataiva bhajamyaham. In responsive cooperation, the Lord reveals himself in proportion to one's surrender. That which is revealed to one who fully surrenders is different from what is revealed to one who surrenders partially. Everyone naturally surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, either directly or indirectly. The conditioned soul surrenders to the laws of nature and material existence. But when one fully surrenders to the Lord, material nature does not act upon him. Such a fully surrendered soul is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etang tarantite. One who is fully surrendered to the Lord has no fear of the modes of material nature, for everything is but an expansion of the Lord's glories. Sarvam kala vidam brahma. And these glories are gradually revealed and realized. The Lord is a supreme purifier, param brahma parang dhama pavitram paramang bhavan. The more one is purified, and the more he wants to know about the Supreme, the more the Lord reveals to him. Full knowledge of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan is revealed to the pure devotees. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10:11, Tesham evanukam partam aham ajnanajang tama nashamyam matma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Shri Matsya Avatāra ki jai. So, let's see, what are we going to read tomorrow? Oh man, 1 second. We read that. Okay, there. Matsya, the Lord's fish incarnation. So, Lord Matsya speaks about the imminent inundation. Then, tomorrow, Lord Matsya will save Satyavrata in the inundation. And then King Satyavrata will offer prayers to Lord Matsya. And then Lord Matsya's teachings. Then we will end with the Falashruti, the results from hearing about this pastime. I have a little announcement to make. So tomorrow is going to be our last reading. We're going to be finishing the 8th canto. And then I just found out this morning that we need to reprint the Navadvip Mahatma book. And so I thought I could, like I did with the Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj letter book, I was thinking for this week, it's going to be, the day after tomorrow, I think it'll be exactly a week till Navadvip Parikrama time. And so I was thinking within that time, maybe I could read the entire Navadvip Mahatma, and meanwhile be proofreading it. I have seen mistakes in it before, and so I just thought, yeah, it'd be good to do a proofread before it gets reprinted. So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I just found out this news right before I started the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class, so I haven't thought it through very well, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Day after tomorrow, I'm going to start Navadvip Mahatma, and I don't know how long I'll read every day, maybe an hour or maybe an hour and a half. And yeah, I'll get through hopefully I can get through the whole book before Navadvip Parikrama. Yeah, just wanted to. So then that means that we will begin the 9th canto after Gaur Purnima. Probably right after Gaur Purnima, we can begin the 9th canto. Actually, no, the day after Gaur Purnima, I have to be at the book table. So it'll be like a couple days after Gaur Purnima, we will start the 9th canto. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Gandhar Vikagiri Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Guru Dev ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtatara Shatashmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gokshadas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Srila Satyavrata Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai, Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki Jai, Shri Amuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Sama Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo, Shri Matsya Avatāra ki jai. Grantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashachat Krishna Bhakti Padudevi Satyavrata Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Tell me, also let me know what you think of that idea of going through the Navadvip Dham Mahatma starting day after tomorrow. Yeah. All right. See you.